Welcome to another episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Our co-hosts, Shri Rajagopalan and Peter V.S. Bond, explore how brands and retailers engage with consumers online, in-store, and everywhere in between. And now, here are Shri and Peter. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CPG Guys podcast. I'm PVSB, the sponsored listing CPG guy, and I love discussing brand loyalty, retail, and CRM. And my co-host, he's the enhanced product listing CPG guy and an expert at direct-to-consumer, retail media, and marketplaces. Please join me in welcoming the master of SEM himself, the man known as Shri. Shri, how you doing today, brother?
The man with the golden voice himself, Mr. PVSB. I read the whole script twice over, and before he can take a dig at the Yankees for being woeful, I will state for the record the bitterness that he has comes from comparing 27 championships to single-digit championships, that too across multiple franchises. Sorry, Peter.
Still leaning on that crutch.
Despite all of that, Peter, I'm doing awesome.
It's good to hear, Shri. Hey, before we get to our guest today, as always, I want to remind our audience that all of our content, including our series that we did on e-commerce profitability, our women's leadership series where you and I were helped raise $8,000 for the Susan G. Komen Foundation. We're very proud of that. Our Founders series, talking about businesses that they had founded. All of that you can find. Just go to cpgguys.com. And Shri, what do we charge for that? Like nothing, right? That's all free. Zero. Big donut. It's free. Everyone can afford free. So please go there and check it out. And if you like what we're doing, the other way to really understand and be in touch with us and all the content we produce, go to LinkedIn and just enter into the search bar CPG Guys. Real easy. It's like on the t-shirt, CPG Guys. And when you get to our page, just click the follow button. That ensures you that you will be up to date with articles we post, new episodes being published, everything we're doing. It's a really great way to do this. So just follow us on LinkedIn. Again, free. You will not be disappointed, we promise you. All right, so by now, if you are a regular listener of this podcast, you know that Shri's most favoritist topic to discuss, other than the woeful New York Yankees, is retail media. Between the privacy changes that Apple has implemented with iOS 14.5 Plus and the proposed cookie tracking changes that Google made and then suddenly granted a 2-year stay of execution. You know what a reprieve is, Shri? A reprieve is a delay in punishment. That is actually what reprieve means. So I love using that word, but it's a bit of a euphemism, saying that you've been granted a reprieve. Anyhow, brand advertisers have been understandably confused and concerned over the future of precision marketing, turning increasingly to retail media offerings for their investments. So, with that background in mind, we have invited on someone to help break down and demystify this, right? Here to talk to us about how brands are investing in retail media and open web targeted marketing is a real industry expert, not just you and me, a bunch of talking heads. Now, we got someone who does this for a living, Shri, right? Prior to her current role, she served as the CEO of Triad Media. She's now managing director of retail at Criteo. Please join Shri and me in welcoming to the CPG Guys podcast, Sherry Smith. Sherry, welcome. It's so good to have you. How are you today?
Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here. And I cannot relate necessarily on the baseball front, but I certainly can say I'm a huge hockey fan. And Tampa lightning bolt. So I'm very excited about their back-to-back win. So anyway, very happy to be here and be part of this discussion. And I'm so happy, Shri, that it is your favoriteest topic. I hope I don't disappoint.
No, that's terrific, Sherry. And anytime we can talk, if we're not talking baseball, as long as we're not talking cricket, I am okay with that. Because the last couple episodes we've recorded, Shri's been able to wax ad nauseum about that particular sport, and I was just like yawning. So in any event, Sherry, before we get to the questions in today's conversation, it would be great for our multitasking audience if, one, you could direct them to Criteo's place online, so where they can go learn more about it, and then also give us just a quick 30,000-foot overview of what your business does.
Sure, absolutely. So, best place to check out Criteo is our website, www.criteo.com. In terms of LinkedIn, my LinkedIn is Sherry B-Smith, and certainly would be happy to have you join me there. And then, of course, we're very, very active on LinkedIn as well. So, Criteo as a whole. So, very excited about where Megan, as CEO, is taking the organization. We have pivoted, if you have seen recent news, to the commerce media platform and focusing on really two separate sides of our business that are coming together naturally. One certainly is the foundation, which has been more of our marketing solution side of the business. Of course, retargeting has been a piece of that, but so much more with contextual and OTT and so on. The retail media division, which is the division I am under, certainly when you think about full funnel media and everything coming together, we focus on working with retailers, of course, and helping them become retail media publishers, as well as with brands, advertisers, agencies, marketers, so to speak, engaging with that first-party data.
When you said full funnel media, I saw Shree's mouth start to curl up in excitement. He's champing at the bit to get to this. So this is terrific, and we appreciate you coming on to talk about this. All of the links that you mentioned, both your LinkedIn profile and Criteo's URL, we will put in the digital liner notes. So fear not, audience. Just open up the episode, go to the digital liner notes, click the link. Don't have to scribble it down. It's all there, hyperlinked for you. Real easy to do. All right, so why don't we get to the heart of the questions? If we can just move on to that, it'll be great, because we've got some great ones in store, and I'm looking to learn a lot from this conversation. You know, one of my favorite events every year, Sherry, is some people like Christmas, others like Thanksgiving. I like February in Palm Beach because I love going to the breakers and attending the Consumer Analyst Group of New York conference, because you get like 35 manufacturers, and they basically put out presentations to the analysts telling their strategic direction. And this year while it was virtual and I didn't get to go to Florida, I saw so much content, and it was pretty hard not to find a reference in those decks. I think there was one that didn't mention retail media. So what do you see as being the driving force behind a seismic shift, and I'm going to use that dramatic term, in brand advertising, more focused now on retail media than it had been in the recent past?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think there's a few different things. I've been doing this for, goodness, about 15 years, and it wasn't always the popular topic. And so it's just so interesting to see how things have changed so much rapidly, especially over the past few years. I mean, I think before the pandemic, retail media was already gaining in popularity, of course, with Amazon and their multi-billion-dollar advertising business and everything they've done with regard to self-serve and all of their different ad products and their APIs to connect and help brands and agencies, just arm them with the tools. But of course, as you said, the seismic shift, the dramatic expansion of e-commerce, especially over the last 15 months, it's really only fueled the fire for retail media. And eMarketer, I think, expects $5 trillion by 2022 for e-commerce, which is just massive. And so, brand dollars, they follow the shopper, and more customers, as they shop online, as they shop across more retailers, that's where the brand dollars are flowing. And that media mix we're seeing is continued to change. And so more marketers are wanting to reach a very personalized, very customized, very targeted e-com shopper, but not just e-com, both using e-com to also influence in store, and really, not just that digital point of purchase, but the purchase overall. And so, we've seen a lot of things happening since, both the pandemic, Amazon growing their media program, as trade and shopper as well. And more of that is shifting to online and retail media. That's where we really feel like there's this unique capability for brands to reach shoppers at that digital point of sale and really have something that's very highly targeted, very efficient, very personalized based off first party data.
You know, you said a lot of my favorite words: targeted, personalized, influencing the in-store model, aka the shelf, success at the shelf, etc. But before I take a deeper dive with you, you already know this is my favorite topic. It became my favorite topic because it's also one of the hottest trends in the industry last 3 years, give or take. And over COVID, because a lot of stores weren't functioning at full capacity, didn't have the store hours, and due to the hygienic concerns consumers had, online was the preferred way for browsing, which means if you want to get displayed, no better way than retail media, SEO, SEM, all of it included, paid media. All that said, before we dive down, first let's get a decomposition from you to how California State graduation happened, Triad came by, and then now we're having a conversation about Criteo. Take us through that journey.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Well, I got 2 decades of traditional and digital experience in the industry, and I'm really proud of
I
that.
got you beat, Sherry. 25.
Okay, there we go. I might be there with you. I just wanted to bring it down a little bit. But yeah, I'm close there, Shri. And during that time, I've had the opportunity to work with some of the largest retailers and marketplace providers. I did my time in Northwest Arkansas, spent 5 years there working with one of the largest, and have helped build, holistic strategies and help retailers and brands truly work together and unlock media revenue for retailers, but also to, of course, help brands along that journey. So, but before I joined Criteo, I spent about 13 years, maybe a little bit more actually, with Triad. And Triad, as you may know, was acquired by Group M uh, as well. I think it was 2016. And I spent about my last 3 years there at Triad as CEO, as you mentioned at the very beginning. And during that time, I valued it so much because I had an opportunity, especially as retail media was changing, to rebrand the company. And we delivered year-over-year profitability, which I was very pleased with. We did a carve out with Sam's Club. They took their program in house, so I was really, really pleased to be part of that. And we launched our first ever proprietary planning tool. So we did a lot of work, but the industry, of course, was changing. And we started out as really a full outsource solution and grew into a very, very large retail media player. We worked with the likes of Walmart and eBay and a host of retailers. And joined joined Criteo, shortly, a year ago, and truly saw this opportunity to provide more tech fuel to retailers to help them power their retail media journey, especially as retailers look to become the next media moguls. And so that's what got me excited to join Criteo. I saw that vision and I saw the tech behind it, and happy to be here a year later.
Sherry, my first exposure to retail media was in the prior decade during my time at CVS. And so when I think about what I'm seeing in the industry now, I remember that term, this isn't your father's Oldsmobile. So things have changed a lot. What I'd love to know from you when you think back about what retail media was like at that point, what are some of the kind of big differences in new services that Criteo can offer brands, and why are they so much more value enhanced than what had been available in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the past when retail media was really emerging, it was more of an outsourced solution. I mean, I'll speak to my time working with some of the largest retailers, the largest retailer. Everything was really fully outsourced, and that's what was provided in my prior life. It was kind of this unknown. It was exciting, but I think the alignment internally within retailers just wasn't there, and as well as with brands, it was more of this. It was a monetization tool, so to speak, that could help fuel free shipping and other services for e-commerce. But with e-commerce representing about 10% of the overall purchase intent, it hadn't reached that full capacity of what it is now. And of course, as Amazon has posted their numbers, as well as, Walmart with their overall business booming, and Target and so on, it has really grown in scale. And so Criteo as a whole, why I was excited about it, why I am excited about it, is it provides this efficient, open, measurable, really ecosystem. I think right now everyone wants to have a media network, but I think that is right now. I think 3 years from now, and I think smart retailers are getting ahead of that right now. They really need that open ecosystem and that platform. Marketers aren't going to go platform to platform to platform. They want that one place where it's not just about sponsored products, but it's also about the full media solution. So it is all about display. It is all about offsite. It is all about those creative controls. It's about the measurement. It's about the insights. And so that's what our value proposition is all about, is really putting those controls in the hands of the retailer as well as the brands and the agencies. And I think that's what makes Criteo unique, is that we've thought about that open ecosystem first versus the walled garden. I think that there can be a combination of both. And we really see retail media being that cornerstone of our vision of truly, being part of this commerce media platform that I talked about earlier.
So Sherry, what's clear to me is, in the modern world of CPG trade, I look at retail media as no different than in-store display. It's like almost a must-have, especially as you launch innovation and as you do outreach with the consumer. But I want to get a little technical here and jump into what matters for SEM. So in the lenses that I've worn in this space, I've always felt to really be good at SEM, you have to be a PPC expert. You got to know what the pieces of PPC are to be good at this. And words like second price auction, you just have to be a king or queen of it. So, but in your eyes, what are those metrics that matter to be an expert at SEM? And then what matters more is, it's very tempting to go down the ROAS path, which you can artificially inflate by doing branded keywords. Or is it more important to get the CPC perfected and optimized, and then the ROAS will automatically show up? Or are they just hand in hand? Like, what are the metrics that matter? What's your opinion on ROAS and CPC?
Yeah, I'll start with, ROAS and CPC. I really start there. I think that, just like any other marketing initiative, brands really can't approach this as a one size fits all. They really need to be looking at what do they want to achieve out of their campaign. And I'll give a great example. ROAS is not going to be the best measurement if you're promoting a new product. That's not really where you're going to want to measure. CPC is a good metric, but if you're competing against a brand whose sole purpose is to gain share of voice, you've got to know that too. So, and be thinking about that when you truly are running a sponsored product initiative. And so those are some of the things I think that, just a couple examples there. I think with anything, what we try to do is really work with the advertisers and the agencies to really develop a needs analysis. What are you trying to achieve? Let us help you, even if you are an expert in PPC. Let us help you, because we're experts as well. Let us help you with what measurement is really right, so that we are achieving what you need to. And with Criteo, we do provide that managed service, but of course, is more and more, and that is absolutely something we're very, very proud of. But more and more is about self-serve, truly, whether you're utilizing an agency or you've got internal resources and or a combination of both. And so we try to arm our advertisers with key points of information like share of voice reporting or cap out reporting, or their CPC versus what their win rate is. I mean, those are all the things that we feel are really important. The more we can help educate, the more we can help them on that journey, the better everything is going to be in terms of that outcome. But it starts with knowing what you want to achieve first.
All right, before we get to the next question, Shri, we threw out some acronyms there. We gotta go back and spell them out, right? So, Sherry, SEM is
search engine marketing.
Search engine, and ROAS is
You want to ad spend.
And CPC?
cost per click.
See, got it. But I got to do those because there are people in our audience that don't know those. So it's always good we bring them along on the journey, right, Sri?
My apologies to the audience, Peter. I should have done that.
I know. I'm going to scold you later. That's okay. But Sherry was here to save the day.
Look at what happened,
So
Shay. You're going to have to give me the air cover for this one.
there you go. This Sri, you're the one who. If I'm blaming you for this, anyhow. All right. So my next question has to do with the fact that some retailers have started building their own targeted retail media platforms. Others have connected to a network like Criteo. What do you see as being the value proposition that you bring to, if you said everybody and their mother is looking to open up a retail media solution, what is the value that you bring with an open network and Criteo solutions?
Yeah, and to your point, Peter, I mean, we're seeing new entrants, and then, Criteo has been working with a number of the largest retailers for some time with their media platforms. So, we're also seeing the acceleration of that business as well. It's definitely a combination. With some of our largest retailers, their business grew 123% year in Q1. I mean, it's definitely massive, massive growth potential, and it's both whether you're new or you're existing, and we're seeing it in both. And so, I think what we try to do, when we look at guiding those retailers is help them understand that it really cannot be fragmented. You can have an element of both. You can have an element of that exclusivity, especially when it comes to your trade and your shopper, but also too, you really want to be thinking about that platform that enables and allows scale. And there's only a small handful of retailers that can really do it by themselves. I think they're already doing it, most of them today. But for Criteo, we power over 100 retailers globally. And we work with the top 60, well, we're about 60% of the top 25 retailers here in the US. So we're really proud of that. And what we have really pushed is this, as I said earlier, an open ecosystem. So that ability for any marketer to really work across all of our retailers in a transparent way, and transparent, just in terms of pricing as well as performance and so on. And really, that's what's going to raise the game. That's what's really going to help retail media scale. Make it easy. Make it easy to buy.
Understood. And speaking of retailers, right, I'd love to learn what retail platforms do you guys actually work with today?
Yeah.
As well as for the benefit of our audience, those especially those in brands, if they wanted to get a partnership going with Criteo or they want to enhance an existing partnership, how would you advise them to go about this in the first place?
Yeah. So I mentioned that we work with 100 retailers globally, and it's retailers in all sectors. So grocery, club, beauty, DIY, department stores, mass merch, CE. I mean, certainly, our partnership with Best Buy and Target are pretty public. We don't typically talk about all of the retailers we do work with, and just out of respect for those retailers, many of them do have media networks, I will say. So I think you'd be probably a little bit surprised with some of those retailers that are promoting their own network that actually we're helping power. We're really proud of that. We want them to be able to have that, their message to be at the forefront, and we want to help power the platform. And so, in terms of key areas that we discuss with brands looking to partner with retail media and helping them, access that retail media, as well as think about different channels. We definitely highlight that retail is a safe space. I mean, when you think about your brand and where you can operate, the quality of the data, reaching people on that shopping mindset, we're absolutely helping guide on the best places where they can access that data, but also too with any of the retailers. And I think this is retail media as a whole, which is why it's so exciting. Rest assured, you do have that data. You are able to personalize, and it is in that space that is safe for any brand. In terms of how we're helping enable more of that easy access, we've announced goodness, it was late last year, our API partnership. So we do have an API on our platform. We work with many, as we call them, third-party partners, but like PacView, you're very familiar with Melissa at PacView and her team, but also Perpetua and Flywheel, Kenshu Mouse, Sky, is that how we say it? And Tenuity. So those are some of the partners that we're working with today. And our approach in doing that is just making sure that they sit on top of our platform. I'll take any one of the large holding companies. They may prefer to work through one of their platforms. They also too are working with the Walmarts and the Instacarts of the world. We want them to work on our retailers as well. And again, that makes it seamless. That makes it accessible. That gives the brand choices. And so they can work with Criteo directly, they can work with one of our partners directly. And we believe that that's, at the end of the day, that's what's going to bolster the retail media effectiveness for our retailers.
For the benefit of our listeners, the Melissa that Sherry referred to, of course, is our friend Melissa from PacView, who you can actually find on Sundays at 8 o'clock, both on our Instagram platform as well as here on LinkedIn. Joins us for the Freshest Four, along with Peter, myself, and Andrea.
Thank you for that, Shri. While Shri loves to talk retail media, my background is in data and insights, so let's transition to that part of the equation in your engagements with brands. What value-added insights does Criteo provide to its clients? Like, how do you measure success for the work you're doing for brands? How does a partnership work on a given campaign? Like, what are kind of the elements, and what are you able to deliver back to your clients to help them understand that investments through your platform are actually delivering measurable results?
Yeah. Well, one of the things I think that sets us apart is we've got the deep integration with retailers, which gives us that access to the first-party data. And so, everything that we do, all the applications, everything that we power is based off of that data. We have a dedicated product and R&D team that's focused on translating those insights and that data into actionable, meaningful insights that they can use for their media programs. So it leverages that data. It also helps brands better understand the actions they can take, the attributes they can leverage to drive product. And you'll see more and more. We're very, very focused on digital shelf analytics, and so I'm very excited about some of the things that we have upcoming. So our goal is certainly to arm and to make sure that it's media is optimized, it's measurable, and you've got that proof of performance post campaign. I would say, just in terms of ways to work with us, and it was one of the questions that you had. We try to be very flexible. I think, depending on the type of media you plan to activate, we can be, we can talk and be live in little as a day, or we can work on, quarterly or annual initiatives. So it really does depend on truly what type of media they plan to activate and what their needs are.
Speaking of types of media activation, Peter started the show by really referring to the Google cookies, the whole privacy policy change being delayed, and his term that he introduced here that he likes, which is reprieve. But that said, Apple's announced this. Privacy changes are here. They're not going to go away anytime soon. iOS 14.5 that came by. We talked about the reprieve. This is a somewhat of a challenge for the advertising industry, and I think Google understands that as well, because hyper-targeting, personalization, it kind of takes away from that ability due to the tracking issue. Does that mean retail media just got to edge up as a result?
Well, it's a great question. I think we're really on this cusp of a paradigm shift, to your point, and retail media is only going to become more valuable, especially in a world without third-party cookies. And we know that. We're very well aware of that. So, we're seeing more and more that retail media entry, you said this, it's a core part of brand marketing plans. It's part of every plan. And that wasn't the case a few years ago. And so, that's exciting to see. And, again, going back to the fact that trade marketing is shifting to digital, that's also a very large piece in addition to, the brand dollars are flowing and moving more towards online. And, I think that I read a report from Forrester recently that cited that 76% of brand advertisers are saying that their growth depends on retail media, and so I think that we can help brands take advantage of some of that very, very valuable first party data. In the case of, Criteo, we're really proud of the retailers we represent, but that technology, it's important. When those third party cookies do go away, brands are going to lose a significant part of their data pool, and they're going to need that they need for that targeting, that measurement. But we believe with retail media, we're primed to really support the brands and fill that void. And it's exciting to see retailers shift and realize that that's their biggest opportunity. And we do see that. I talked a lot about brands and advertisers, but retailers are bringing on not only the right tech partners like ourselves, themselves staffing with tech. They're getting the alignment with their merchants. They're getting the alignment even in terms of operations. The talent they're bringing on board is really exciting to see as well. And so, I think that there's no other channel that's going to be able to provide that unique first-party data set, that granular measurement, and really be resistant to any of the changes that are happening in the industry, and really be there, like I said, to fill that void. So, we like to say it's future-proof, and we want to continue to grow with this really, really fast-moving space.
To our audience, I'll remind you that if you go to cpgguys.com, you can find this audio podcast on up to 40 different platforms. You can even ask your virtual assistant to play the CPG Guys podcast, and your VA will do exactly that. You can find links to our LinkedIn page, our Instagram feed. You can find Shri and me on LinkedIn. You can even find a list of the podcasts that we listen to when we're not listening to ourselves talk. Just go to cpgguys.com, and if you want to give us some feedback, tell us what you want to listen to in the future. We are an audience-driven podcast, so we want to create content that's meaningful to you. Just go to ratethispodcast.com/cpgguys. Leave us a rating and a review. Sherry, thank you for coming on the podcast today and demystifying a lot of the lack of understanding that's been going on with all these privacy changes, and helping us understand a little bit more of where retail media and digital advertising is going in the future. We're going to put a link, as we mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, to both Criteo's site and to you on LinkedIn. But thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciated your sage counsel and your commentary.
Thank you so much. Really, really enjoyed the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Sherry.
Right.
Hey, Shri, another humdinger right up your alley. Retail media. Couldn't be happier, could you? You big smile on your face.
I wish we had another hour.
Video.
I wish we had another hour and we could get really technical on this stuff.
All right.
I want to discuss CPC by category, Peter.
By category?
Yes.
Oh my God. You want to break it down that granular? All right. Well, if someone writes in and writes a review on Rate This Podcast and mentions that, then yes, that will validate your interest.
Oh no! If that happens, Peter, you're going to wear a Yankees hat and a Yankees cap for 3 recordings.
Yeah, but you can't.
3 episodes.
You can't.
That's the
deal.
deal.
You're not allowed to go on and ask the question.
I won't ask anybody other than what we state here on the podcast.
Yeah, well,
Guys, if you want to see him wear a Yankees hat and a T-shirt, you know what to do. Just sign. Mic drop.
Ain't happening. All right. So, Shri, thanks again, as always, for joining me. Love doing this with you. Really educational, not only for our audience, but for you and me. And this is why we like doing it.
Absolutely, Peter. Thank you so much. This is awesome week over week with you.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to you listening in on the next episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Goodbye.